Faster drug discovery, complex multi-robot industries, hard-to-hack digital networks, environment monitoring like never before, and of course, the zoom and droom of self-driving vehicles. Quantum technology holds the potential to redefine the world as we know it. 100 million times faster, quantum computers just take seconds to complete a task that would take the most advanced supercomputers tens of years to accomplish. What's more, NASSCOM says the revolutionary technology can add at least $300 billion to India's GDP by 2030. That's not too far out. That would be a quantum leap, quite literally. And to make it possible, India in 2023 announced its very own national quantum mission, with the cabinet approving an outlay of 6,000 crore rupees, half of which will be deployed in setting up 4 technology hubs with a clear target: bridge the global gap, catch up with advancements, and help India achieve self-sufficiency in quantum technology. From the West to the Indo-Pacific, nearly all major economies have rolled out their national missions and programs. Over 30 governments have committed more than $40 billion in public funding to quantum technologies, which will be deployed in the next 10 years. This as per a report by IQM. China tops the list with an estimated budget of $15 billion. The US has committed nearly $4 billion so far under its National Quantum Initiative. And let's not forget, the country is home to Google, Microsoft, AWS and IBM, all leaders in quantum computing. India is at least 10 years behind, but has taken the first big step, becoming the 7th country to have a dedicated quantum mission, apart from the US, Austria, Finland, France, Canada and China. The big question we want to ask on the show today: what will it take for India to turn this vision into reality, and how can this mission bring together the country's talent, technology and tenacity to fulfill the mission of a made-in-India 1,000-qubit quantum computer? Hello and welcome to Young Turks, India's longest-running show on startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Shereen Bhan, and joining me on the program today are 2 men who are at the forefront of India's quantum leap. Joining us on the show, Ajay Kumar Sood, the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, and Ajay Chowdhry, Chairman, Mission Governing Board of the National Quantum Mission. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on the program. Mr. Sood, for the layperson out there, 6,000 crores has been allocated by the government towards the quantum mission. Why is it so important? Why is it so necessary for us to get into the quantum race today?
See, quantum technology is a disruptive technology, because what we have been living with the classical computers and the way communication with the present cyber security, all this has to be revisited when these quantum technologies are really everyone's game. So actually it is a lead time for us to be ready and make sure that India, we are quantum safe when this technology is fully developed. So right now it is in somewhat nascent stage, but it will not be very far when very powerful quantum computers will become available to challenge the available crypto systems or the security systems we have right now.
So, let's talk about quantum safe is the next step that we have to look at. How quantum ready are we today, Mr. Chowdhry? You said that the first meeting of the quantum mission was in January, and since then a lot of momentum and a lot of pace has been picked up. Explain to us where we are on the curve of quantum readiness today.
So basically, as per the plan that we had created, we are on track. So what we had decided to do was to set up 4 thematic hubs in the country. One for computing, one for communication, another for sensors, another for materials. And we then put out a request for proposals from all researchers, all institutes in the country. And that request for proposal happened 20th of January itself, a few days after the meeting. The response has been phenomenal, I must say. So we are all very happy with the kind of response that we have received.
Where are you getting the response from?
From various research institutes, researchers, IITs, TIFR, IISc, you name it. Everybody is interested. So this is such a great thing to happen. And what we are now working on is shortlisting from there. So we are sifting through those applications. We will come up with the right application that we believe are good. Then we will have a group sitting and deciding on looking at the technical aspects of those people who have actually applied. And then at some stage by about August, we would have finalized who will run each of these hubs. And each of these hubs will be actually Section 8 companies with full authority and full funding and everything provided to them. So they're totally independent. Parallel to that, we are setting up an organization in Noida, which will be the coordination system for the whole program. So we are moving quite fast forward, and in addition, we've done something extra. We've also started talking to startups.
Okay.
So we believe that there is a great opportunity for our startups also to get into this area, and if we do this parallelly and get them the right mentorship, I think we can be extremely successful.
Let me get you to chip in on that as well, because Young Turks is India's and perhaps the world's longest running show on startups. So the startup community is going to be listening to the two of you very closely on how you expect the startup ecosystem to contribute to the quantum mission. What's the ask? What are you hoping for?
See, startups right now in India, we have about 45 startups which are working in different parts of quantum technologies, be it quantum computers, quantum communication, sensors and devices. So what these startups have to see, what is it they can do which is innovative and will have the leadership potential.
Okay.
Because this is not in isolation. Many countries are working, as you said in the beginning of your program. So we have to see that the startups also have connect with our academic partners who will be doing the very fundamental work, let's say from TRL 1 to TRL 4 or TRL technology readiness level, so that these startups have a very high chance of success.
Okay.
So this will be actually, we have to do it together. So people will not give you the technology just by asking. So the startups, good news is that there are already few good startups who are really in the race, almost internationally competitive. But that number has to increase.
That number has to increase. But Mr. Chowdhry, you know, let's talk about each one of these components now. Let's talk about processing power. In fact, just this morning, Mr. Amitabh Kant tweeted saying that over the next 18 months, India is going to have about 10,000 GPUs in place. So we shouldn't worry about processing power and processing capacity. Just build on that for the benefit of our audience, you know, the importance as well as the challenges on being able to build that out and get to that stage.
See, that's fundamentally for the classical computers. And that capability is required in India for working on artificial intelligence. So that's the plan that the government has put together. And they are going to create this infrastructure so that startups and organizations in India have the infrastructure to use for AI applications and developing AI further. So that is a totally separate area. The quantum computing is totally new. This is something that we will work through the mission to create quantum computers in India. Already, couple of institutions have achieved certain level of capability. Like, for example, couple of institutes in India itself have created 6-qubit computers already. So it's not that we are starting at zero. For the last 3 to 4 years, MeitY and DST had programs inside which quantum was part of those programs. Cyber physical systems, etc. And therefore, that capability is already happening.
So you're saying that we're not starting at zero, but at the same time, you've also said that we have a 10-year gap to bridge at this point in time. What are the critical aspects that you believe we need to prioritize? Where is the gap the widest today that we need to bridge?
See, actually, in certain areas, the gap will be 1 or 2 years. In certain areas, the gap will be 4 to 5 years. In certain areas, will be 8 to 10 years. See, for example, materials is a very big area. That will take time. But the biggest issue is that one major area, which is communications, is something where a lot of work has been done in the country. All right. There are startups. There is a couple of startups who are at technology readiness level 8 and 9 today. And they can actually compete globally also. So this kind of work that has happened, and some of that work has actually been started from institutes. It's not that they did it on their own. Let's say there's a startup in Bangalore. They actually came out of IIT Madras. And IIT Madras originally created all that capability for them to take off. So IIT Madras would have given them TRL level 3, TRL level 4, and they took it to TRL level 9. So that's the way it has to be done.
You know, Mr. Sood, we're talking about partnering with academia here, and we just got some examples there from Mr. Chowdhry on what is already happening on the ground. But what about public-private partnership, and what do we need to be mindful of, especially in the context of building out the quantum computing ecosystem and the quantum mission in India, and especially partnering perhaps with global companies, because they at this point in time have taken the lead?
Yeah. See, quantum computing is slightly a complex game. The reason is that all around the world, it is not yet clear which technology will take over. For example, in quantum computer, we talk of qubits.
Right.
In classical, you talk of bits, 0 and 1. But in a qubit, it can be simultaneously in 0 as well as in 1 with some probability. Now, these qubits can be actualized by many processes, many physical things. It can be superconducting Josephson junction. It can be spin-based quantum qubits, photonic-based.
Right.
This ion-based, a very powerful again a system. All these 4 or 5 pathways are being pursued. So all around the world, there is a still not clear which one will really be there.
Right.
But the most important thing in quantum computer is the fault tolerance. Even if you have qubits, which are physical qubits, which you can make in a lab, that is not enough, because these are probabilities things in quantum. So the question is, what is the fault tolerance? Which means if you do 1000 operations, how many errors you will get? Right now you will say, oh, I'll get 4 to 8. That is totally unacceptable. Now last month they have reached 1 error in 100,000. This has to come to 1 in billion.
Right.
Then all this power of quantum computing will come. Now, coming to your question, this means a tremendous amount of investment in these technologies. In our quantum mission, we will nurture on some groups, but this will be at a R&D level. Because if you talk of spin qubit, which is based on, let's say, silicon technology, now there we are still at a 2 qubit. Now, if you have to take 2 to 25, lot of work is involved. It's not just making it and just putting in a cryostat. It's many more things. So the fault tolerant, error corrections, quantum algorithms, all that will come in, and that's where the public-private partnership will be very important. So we need to have companies equivalent of what US has, IBM, Microsoft, Google. Can they see the future, such a bright future? It is like the computers in 1960s, when nobody thought that the laptops will be tomorrow there. Quantum is at that stage. So these people have to be visionaries in public sector to really invest in it.
Visionaries with a lot of capital, Mr. Chowdhry. I mean, do you believe that we have the appetite for that within the tech ecosystem or the Indian private sector business ecosystem today? Because even if you look at the government funding at 6,000 crores, it's less than $1 billion. China 15 billion, the US almost 5 billion. So the amount of capital the government at this point in time is provided for is minuscule in comparison to what the rest of the world is spending.
You see, this is a start. And when we got this project, we were very clearly told this is a start. So initially, these funds have been provided. And if we go at the pace that we want to go, additional funds will be made available. You look at what happened in semiconductors. They started with 10 billion, and the ministers already announced that the next 10 billion will be available. So this government is very clear that if required in any particular technology, they will put the funding required. You see, this is not an area where it's an if. This is an area where you have to be there. If you're not there, your country's future will be at stake. Each and every piece of financial systems, any other systems that you can think of can be brought down by anybody anywhere in the world.
Since this is, as you pointed out, a national imperative, it is a national strategic imperative.
Yes.
What is the role then of the private sector that you see, and how do you get the private sector to collaborate?
So this is something that we are seriously discussing at this moment. We have decided to call a lot of the technology companies and sit together with them.
You mean the TCS, Infosys, HCLs of Wipros of the world?
It's not that they are zero.
Yeah.
A lot of them are already working on quantum. But one of the major things that is going to happen, let's say I was talking about crypto, basically the communications area. Now, if they go to a customer, a financial customer in America, and they tell TCS, can you please implement quantum safe technology here? They won't know. It is very imperative for them to know. If they don't know, they will have a trouble. JP Morgan just 2 days ago announced readiness for quantum. So, people are all over the world moving very fast. And the United States took a decision 2 years ago that they have to be quantum safe in each of the critical areas.
We started by talking about going from quantum readiness to quantum safe, but let's talk about being quantum safe and the importance of being quantum safe. We just, both of you articulated and gave us a glimpse of the kind of opportunities, but what is scary at this point is also the challenges, and if we're not prepared for those challenges, what it could mean and the adverse impact. Let's talk a little bit about that and what is being prioritized today to ensure quantum safety.
See, in quantum safe means that even when the quantum algorithms come and quantum computers are available, how do we make sure that we are safe in our financial transactions, in our medical transactions, any transaction, power grids, anything you take. Now for that, there are two routes actually right now. One is that you have the complete communication using quantum methods, which is called quantum key distribution, QKD.
Right.
But there is another powerful alternative, which is post-quantum cryptography. Essentially, it means we will use the conventional computers with high power, but it will change the security protocols. Instead of RSA and so on, it will be those algorithms which cannot be even broken with quantum computers. That's why it's called post-quantum cryptography. What does it mean? It means, see, our cryptography is based on mathematically hard problems. That's all. Whether you can factorize a number in a given time. 21 you can factorize 7 into 3. But if this number is huge, 128-bit, it will take millions of years. When you say 128-bit AES protocol, it will take 1 trillion years be a present-day computer.
I'm getting nightmares, by the way, just listening to him speak at this point in time. It's taking me back to my math class.
But if you had a quantum computer and you have the Shor algorithm, actually this can be broken in few minutes. Now that's scary, which means that we must replace the conventional RSA, AES and so on with mathematically harder problems. There are candidates which NIST has in USA has put a challenge. So that is the challenge we have now. So this is where we are getting ready.
But how imminent is this threat at this point in time, Mr. Chowdhry? I mean, we're dealing with regular cyber attacks and cyber security related issues. We're dealing with things like, WhatsApp scams and these regular phone call scams at this point in time. I mean, how imminent is this threat today?
Those are very simple things. This is a very complex area. Here, what we need to do is to start working right at the top of the country. RBI now starts to deeply look at a policy and a strategy to make each and every financial institution safe for an attack 2 years later or 3 years later. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It can happen 3 years later.
But you're saying 2 or 3 years later?
Who knows? Because the pace at which quantum technology is improving, the capability of computers that are being created globally, a lot of them are being done in a very secret way. It's not that everybody is telling us everything. So we don't know when this will be, but I think it's important, just like what the United States has done. 2 years ago, Biden passed a very clear directive to all institutions start becoming quantum safe in the next 2 to 3 years. So as a result, the defense systems, the security systems, the electricity grids, the financial systems are all going towards a plan with clear dates for putting this in place. So what our objective in NQM is to make the government and the top organizations like RBI aware that something like this needs doing. So we've started work on that. As a matter of fact, there are clear inputs given at various levels already, and we are trying to make sure that they start to work on this right away.
Okay.
And this is something that they need to put out just the way Biden has done. We need to put out a plan in the next 5 to 6 months to say, this is how we will be quantum safe in all these areas.
You know, you brought up President Biden, and of course, India and the US have decided to partner on areas of high technology and so on and so forth. But what about a deeper collaboration, a deeper partnership on quantum computing, on the quantum mission per se? What are your thoughts on that?
I'll tell you, I mean, this is, there is nothing confidential here, it's in public domain. Under ISET, ISET, quantum technologies is an identified area.
Correct.
And there are teams on both sides. And the team from the Indian side, I am chairing that. And US side, there is a OSTP and NSA team is involved. So there is a dialogue on that, but we have to take it forward. So it is just a beginning of that collaboration. And my sense is that this is very, very important for both the countries, because even the standards have not yet been finalized in many situations. So standards will be one immediate thing, sandboxes to really have the technologies verified. All that has to be done. So I think the international cooperation with the correct sensitivity of making sure that both countries progress and make sure that together the strength increases. So international collaboration is important, and with appropriate considerations it should be done.
So international collaboration is important, it's imperative, conversations around dialogues are taking place at this point in time, but self-reliance and self-sufficiency is also going to be critical. Is that not the case, Mr. Chowdhry?
Absolutely right. So that's something that we will take care of. That's the reason why we have decided to go and set up these 4 thematic hubs. And our whole objective is to become self-sufficient in this area. And wherever we come across an opportunity for a collaboration, we'll carefully evaluate and tie up areas where we believe we need some technology. You know, at some stage, India should even be open, whether it's semiconductors or this area or any other area. If some technology is far ahead of us, we should have the capability to go and buy it and bring it back. So those kind of thoughts should be there in our future planning. I'm not saying this is part of our plan today, but this is something that as a country we need to do, because you can't do everything. So it's important for us to somewhere go and buy technology, get technology, collaborate, etc., etc. And there are certain countries, smaller countries, who are willing to give away things at a particular time, because they just don't have the technology capability and the skills that we possess. Because we have numbers, they don't have numbers. You look at European countries. How many people will be there in quantum? Somewhere there'll be 500, there'll be 1,000. It won't be more than that. So this is something where we can score once we create the skills. And that is what will happen when the whole mission takes off under thematic hubs. More and more people will get created, more skills will get created, and that will help us in the future.
So just before I wrap, give me a glimpse, as you said that, you know, international collaboration and so on and so forth is still a distance away. But as far as the next year is concerned, because August is when you will hopefully, as you said, finalize the shortlisted candidates as far as the thematic hubs are concerned. Just give me a breakup of what we should expect in this year, the next 12 to 18 months as far as the mission is concerned.
So let's go sector-wise, because giving a very generic answer will not be helpful. Let's take quantum computers, quantum computing. In quantum computing, our thrust will be on 2 fronts. One, to build indigenous capability for the hardware, because that cannot be ignored, and we cannot just be buying it
Sure.
in future. So that will go on, and it will start in a modest way. From 7 qubit, it will go to 25 qubit.
Okay.
That is a very, very good progress in 1 year, along with the error correction systematic way. And so in quantum computing, the other part, which is very equally strong, is the quantum algorithms.
Okay.
We do not need to wait for our quantum computers to be ready. There is time available. You can buy the time
Okay.
on cloud, on quantum computers, and you can work on quantum algorithm
Okay.
in which India has always been strong, our
Yes.
entire software industry.
Yes.
So software as a service will be a big thing.
Okay.
So we will have to do two-prong attack, our hardware, all the supply chain on the hardware, and the quantum algorithms. Coming to quantum communication, in 1 year, there are two objectives. One is land-based,
Okay.
fiber optic based. Already 200 kilometer has been demonstrated.
Okay.
And there is a proposal to take it to 1000 kilometer with trusted nodes in between, because you need in between 200 kilometer or 150 to boost. That would happen. At the same time, the satellite-based quantum communication, already there are 2 or 3 groups which we know are at a very advanced stage.
Okay.
That would happen. And as you know, there is already a talk of a quantum satellite for quantum communication.
Right.
ISRO is going to do that. Third area, which is quantum sensors. There are 2 very, very important sensors right now.
Okay.
One is the magnetometer, very, very fine magnetic field to measure so that your brain can be mapped. Second, gravimeter, which means the earth attraction is not uniform here. If there is a tunnel below, or if there is a hidden thing, you can detect a very minute change which Newton couldn't have done. That is called quantum gravimeter.
Okay.
And good news is our 3 groups have already demonstrated that in a lab scale. So what we are telling them, put it in a portable way.
Okay.
So that is the third initiative.
Right.
And fourth will be how to make devices in India, like single photon devices, single photon detectors, and so on, so that we don't have dependence on the foreign source.
Mr. Chowdhry, in exactly 30 seconds, startups who are watching this, what's your pitch? What's your message to them?
Invest in this area. This is going to be a huge opportunity globally. We are already seeing some startups really competing with the best in the world. And I think it's time for startups to get deeply here. And funding will be available from what we can tell you. Funding we will provide from NQM. And there are interesting VCs who are today coming and talking to us and saying, we want to invest in deep tech. So things are changing.
Things are changing. I feel like I've gone back to school quite literally here with Mr. Sood and Mr. Chowdhry here giving us a masterclass on what it will take for India to be quantum ready and quantum safe. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you back on the show periodically, because this is going to require a lot of work as that's what you're putting in. It will require a lot of conversation for us to understand the work that's going in. For today, from all of us here on the Young Turks team, thanks very much for watching. Do send us your feedback. We always appreciate hearing from you. For now, goodbye and see you next time.